welcome back to what you need to know for ProPresenter operators. We've talked about themes already, but we're going to start talking about looks in this video. So we are going to start with the stage look. First of all, you might open up ProPresenter, click on a slide, but nothing showed up on our screens. We can click through, and if we're not seeing stuff come up on the screen, it's because we haven't selected a screens macro. That is why the very first slide has a worship macro on it. So we click that very first slide and it brings up the screens. So there's the importance of looks. We've already talked about why all of these screens look different from each other, how they all have different themes. We're going to focus in on our confidence monitor for this video and show how that relates to the themes, which we talked about in the last video. To edit or to create or to see stage looks, we go up to the top of the screen, we go to screens, you can see our stage screens here. So let's go ahead and edit our layouts. We can see all of the different layouts for our confidence monitor. What we are essentially doing is creating a specific theme that is only for our confidence monitor. If you remember from the last video when we were editing the themes on our text, that only showed up on the main screen in the room. A stage look is essentially a theme for our confidence monitor. So we go up to screens, go to our stage looks, edit layouts, and these are our themes for our confidence monitor. So whichever one of these we have selected will apply to the confidence monitor and only to the confidence monitor. So we've got this one for worship. We've got a similar look for our message, just like we talked about in the last video with themes. It all depends on the purpose for your confidence monitor. What do you need your confidence monitor to look like? For worship, what we need is for the band to see the current lyrics and to see the next lyrics, and for the current lyrics to match exactly what the congregation is seeing as far as the layout. So that is what it is set to. And of course, it shows the group that we're on, the group that's coming up, the next slide lyrics, and those are things that the congregation doesn't get to see. Now we got a couple other looks over here for the confidence monitor that are extremely handy to have. This video still image look. This is simply going to copy the screen preview wall output. So what that means is that anything that is shown on the main screen is also going to be displayed on the confidence monitor at the same time. Similarly, we've got this alpha key. Remember, alpha key is the live stream. This is just going to take whatever's on the live stream and put it on the confidence monitor. Two very different applications, very different from a worship or a message application. We use things like this for announcements and videos, things like that that have very specific use cases. We've also got a presentation look down here, a VBS meeting or an Awana meeting. Our Awana leaders can create some slides, show them on the screen, and they can also see them on the confidence monitor at the same time in a nice generic layout like this. We have skits and scripts layout, kids giving performances and plays like Christmas plays, Easter plays, things like that. And this is a little bit different because if you notice on our presentation one, it shows current slide text. On the skits and scripts, it's current slide notes. On each slide, I can just right click on one of these slides, edit slide. We have the text on the slide up here. That is what's going to show on the main screen. We've also got slide notes down here, and we can add notes to a slide that will not show on the main screen, and we can tell the confidence monitor that we want to show the notes of that slide. I'm just going to go back to our layouts. That is super handy for performances for kids who don't have their lines memorized, so we can show graphics up on the screen and set a scene in the room, and the kids on stage can see their lines on the confidence monitor. The most important thing to keep in mind with this is that these are essentially themes for the confidence monitor. So we can just go up here to the top where it says layouts, add a new layout, and we can create it from a blank or from a template. We can just start to add things on here. We can add text, the text box, and just like a theme, we choose a scaling, we choose our text size, and we can decide all of that based on what we need this confidence monitor look to do. Let's say that we have a speaker coming in who has notes that they've prepared, but they've also got slides that they want to show on the main screen. This hypothetical speaker wants to be able to see the slide that they are showing as well as the notes for whatever they are talking about. Let's go back to our blank slate here. So we want to go up to this bar across the top, and we have lots of options for all the different kinds of things that we can add. Current slide text, current slide notes. Those are the two things that we are looking for this. So let's go ahead and add current slide text, and let's go ahead and align that across across the top, and let's make it 50-50, and we'll make it the full width of the entire slide. And below that, we will show the current slide notes and fit it there. This is everything we need this layout to be. Let's scale up, and we'll scale up to 50. We just select it, and we will say we scale down on this one. Let's say we scale down to 50. There's lots of different ways that we can take this basic layout and really stylize it. So we can come up here and we can add one of our screen previews. That is another way of doing essentially what we've done with this current slide text. Let's say we delete that. Let's instead add our wall output. This is going to show everything on the front wall, including graphics, layouts. Everything is going to be copied onto this top section right here. Now that might be exactly what this presenter wants. It might be hard to see and it might be hard to read. So it's a matter of working with this person and developing a look for what exactly they want to see. We can add shapes to this look, a little block up here and some text over it. And we want to resize these. We'll just put those on top of each other and we can make it say whatever we want it to say, like current slide. Let's say he doesn't like this blue color, so we can go to that shape and we can change that color to something like a yellow. On this text, we can do lots of different things to it to make it stand out. We can also add a shape on the text. Just take away that yellow rectangle. We can add a fill, and that will essentially do the same thing to that text. It will give a background to it. Choose a background color. We can add a stroke around that background color, and we can make it really thick. We can make it red. That's another way of essentially doing what we've done with this little rectangle right here, just done it in a little bit of a different way. We can add a stroke to the text itself to make that stand out a little bit more. Now we could add a drop shadow to the text, make that text really stand out on that yellow background. And now we can take this look and rename it. So let's say we rename it, and let's say we just rename it to whatever this person's name is. So let's call them, I don't know, Jimmy. So now we've got this layout that we've created for the confidence monitor for Jimmy. We now want to use it. To do that, of course, we are going to use a macro. So let's come over here to our service screens. We're going to add a new macro, and we'll just call it Jimmy's macro or something like that. Now on that macro, we can add stage action and find Jimmy's layout and apply Jimmy's layout to that macro. Let's just click on this first slide for the sake of ease, and let's go to a random slide with random lyrics on it. Now we've got this macro down here. All we need to do to enable it is to click on it, and we see what that does. And of course, there's no notes on this slide, but let's just go ahead and add some really quick. We'll just write down here Jimmy's notes. Now we've added these notes to this slide. We'll go back to the show. We'll re-trigger it, and now we can see Jimmy's notes are showing up there. There is probably everything that you need to know about the confidence monitor and about stage looks.